How's it going, guys? I'm Connor from Running Warehouse, and we're back at it with another episode of the Running Warehouse Connection. Now, this week we've got another special guest. She's a fairly new member to the NAZ Elite team in Northern Arizona. She has PRs of 4:09 in the 1500 and a new PR of 15:10 in the 5K. We've got Lauren Paquette. Lauren, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming, joining. We've been excited to hear about you because, like I said, you are on a hot streak right now. You've been getting PRs in the 5K and the 10K. How's training going, and what have you been up to recently?
Oh man. Training has honestly gone great this year. Everything's been a lot more than I'm used to, and with joining a new group, a new coach, and new training partners, a lot of things have been different. But it's been going really well. I'm currently on a small break right now. Just with my season being over, we thought it was a good time to take a week off, kind of reset mentally and physically. And I had my second run back this morning and feeling as normal, second run back. Just kind of getting back into it. The body feels like it hasn't run in about a week, but other than that, things are going well.
Yeah, I mean the rest week after a heavy season is always kind of much needed. But again, you've been running with the new NAZ Elite team. What has that transition been like, and what is the atmosphere of NAZ Elite?
Oh man, well, and usually at the end of my season, I'm like so ready to be done and take a break. But I was like, Steph and Kellen, my training partners, were like looking at me like I had the crazy gene because I was actually like wanting to keep going and training and but I have been doing this for a little bit, and I definitely I respect the importance of having a mental break. So yeah, I guess so for the transition to NAZ Elite and Flagstaff, there were a lot of transitions that needed to be made, and our coach Ben Rosario was really smart in guiding me through those transitions. But I moved from Memphis, Tennessee, where it's hot, humid, sea level, to Flagstaff, Arizona, where it's 7,000 feet of altitude. It snows. Just different training routes, lots of new different runs to explore. But, as someone I had done altitude since before, but I had never lived at altitude for an extended period of time. That was definitely a challenge, just to make sure, I don't overdo it. I just take things slow and kind of let the fitness come as it will. And I actually, when I got to Flagstaff, I was a little bit banged up. I had some post-hip tendinitis. So on top of that, the two combined, Ben was really smart and just decided to really take it easy with me and kind of ease me into the training, especially because the way that NAZ Elite trains is, it's been by far like the most volume I've done, the longest workouts I've done. Everything was more and a little different, except that he had me take 1 day off every week, which is a little bit different than I'm used to. I'm used to taking 1 day off every 2 to 3 weeks, but less volume and a little bit more intensity. So yeah, long story short, the transition, it actually went pretty seamless considering all the variables that were included. And I guess in Memphis, I have like local guy runners to train with every now and then, but I hadn't really had any female training partners in like 6 years. So that was also something I was really looking forward to, was having other women, other professional women with the same mindset and goals as me to work with and to help push me, and for me to hopefully push them in practice too. So those have been, I think, the biggest transitions for sure. But yeah, I think it went great, and I'm looking forward to a whole extra year of training with them for sure.
Awesome. Now, you talk about having some new female teammates. Who do you think you train with the most, and I guess what has that whole training experience been like?
Well, so I've trained with just about everyone on the team for like some workouts. We kind of all, Ben doesn't have everyone on the exact same training plan at all times. He kind of like has different people work out with different certain people depending on what's kind of coming up, where people are in training and so. But this past, like, I guess 4 to 5 months after the Olympic marathon trials, I've been mostly training with Stephanie Rothstein Bruce and Kellen Taylor. And we've actually been stride for stride in every workout. Like, I've done the same volume as them. The difference between them and I right now is they actually run quite a bit more volume than I do. So they're probably at, 100 miles a week or something like that. Something like, like long. That's a lot. It'd be a lot for me. Whereas like in the past 6 years, I don't think I'd gone over, maybe I might have hit 1 week at 70, but that was rare. So mostly I've been at like 45 to 55 miles a week. And so my volume has bumped up quite a little bit this year for sure. So when they have, I have it on my schedule through Final Surge, I have like a 6-mile run. I just assume that they have 8 to 10 because they have to get that mileage in, and, or like, and I'd also never really done doubles before I got to Flagstaff. And I just assumed that they have a double almost every day. And also the long runs, I hadn't really gone over. I had done the odd 14 miler every so often, but I'd been doing like 10 to 13. And so my long runs have been pretty consistently 15 to 17, whereas I just assumed they have 20. So yeah, and then at the beginning of the year, before COVID 2020 happened, I was also training a lot with Danielle Shanahan, who we were going to be stride for stride training for 5K and the 10K, which is a new distance for me too. So I've told Steph and Kellen this, like all of what my training used to be, and they always make fun of me, like, have you ever trained a day in your life? And I'm like, yes, it's just very different because I have more of a speed background than them. So yeah.
Wow. Well, it sounds like all this extra volume is paying dividends, and you're getting that extra strength. But you also talk about Steph and Kellen, you're doing a lot of workouts with them. Do you notice on workout day, is there a little bit of competitiveness? Does anyone ever try to kind of overstep someone, or do you guys feel like you are really a tight-knit team that are kind of working together?
No, we're actually, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I trained on myself for 6 years, but so I don't know how other groups are because I haven't been in other groups, but not really. But like, we're really not like that in practice. Like, we don't really try to like just like kill each other or anything. Like, we're pretty complementary. We all have our own strengths, but I mean, I have more of an 800 miler background. Kellen is definitely, I mean, she's run fast in the mile before too. But like Kellen and Steph just have that marathon experience. And so like a lot of the workouts, especially like there was one a few weeks before the Sunset Tour 5K. Actually, I think it was it was the week before the Sunset 5K, where I was like, this is a lot of volume for a workout before, just because I'm not used to that. But we had 10 by a K with a minute rest, and I was just like hanging on. They actually sandwiched me in between them a couple times. Like, you're not falling off the pace. Like, you're so like basically it's helpful, but it's also nerve wracking because they are so good and they are so strong. And, I like to think I have things to offer to the team, but I definitely would say like in some of the longer workouts, like they've just been a lot for me. And so we've gotten through them just fine and end up having a good workout, but there's no way, like, I wouldn't be able to do some of the workouts I did without Steph and Kellen just being like, you're fine. Just don't lose contact with me, so.
No, I mean, I can totally relate, because sometimes you get in workouts that you're not really sure if you can do it, but you get put in with some fast people. They kind of guide you through and take you to a level you never knew you were at. And it really does seem like right now with the PRs that are just coming left and right with you that it seems to be working. So Ben's doing something right over there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really been awesome. Like despite, I mean, I don't know if you're going to ask me about this, but despite just the uncertainty of COVID and all the races being canceled and everything, like it really actually, like I've still been having so much fun. And like, I like wake up in the morning, like excited to go to practice and just like, I can't, even if it's like a really hard workout or workout that I look at it on paper and I'm just thinking, man, you're crazy. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this workout. It's actually, I don't know, like I just really look forward to it because it's a really fun dynamic.
Yeah. Well, with all the uncertainty like in the air right now, how have you and your team been going about planning for the season and planning for racing and just planning with not really knowing what the future is looking like?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely have to credit a lot of our team's success in the season to Ben Rosario early on. I mean, definitely like he just exemplifies what a leader of a team should be to me. I mean, I remember, I guess it was March and walk after, it was definitely, I mean, after the Olympic trials and like walking into the weight room at Hypo 2 in Flagstaff and just, he's like pulled us aside and we were supposed to go run Carlsbad 5K and then Stanford, the first Stanford Invitational 10K. I was supposed to run the 10K there in April and those two events were just canceled right away. And so we were like, oh, this is really serious, you know? And so once we figured out kind of what was actually happening, where we wouldn't have many opportunities, we stopped meeting as a team just to kind of see where the disease was heading, and we didn't know much about it, so we didn't want to, you know, potentially spread it amongst ourselves, or just the optics were, you know, questionable if you kept meeting in person, even if because we didn't know what was happening, we were being instructed not to meet. But Ben took everyone's temperature pretty quickly on how we were feeling with the pandemic. And so I remember we had a big Zoom meeting, just our entire team. So 6 men, 6 women, the assistant coach, Ben Bruce, and our pacer, who is amazing, plug. But yeah, and then, yeah, Ben and Jen Rosario, Ben's wife, Jen, and just kind of had, I think it lasted for maybe an hour and a half. And it was like a brainstorming session on, well, we don't have races and we don't know when we're going to have races, but we have to keep motivation up, and, you know, like we're still a professional team, and what can we do during this time to stay engaged and motivated? And so we came up with a bunch of different ideas, like, you know, different inter squad races, head to heads, time trials. I mean, it we didn't meet, I think that was mid-March, but we didn't meet for about 3 months, and we're doing everything on our own, which is kind of ironic because one of the main reasons I moved for a group is so I'd have training partners. And then it's like I got, you know, maybe 2.5 months of that, and then it was like, awesome. Like, this is ironic, I'm training by myself in another city. So, but, you know, I just mean, like, this is how I know for me that it was a great decision, because even though we were isolated, like I still felt like I was part of a team, and I still felt super motivated, just knowing that like I'm going to do everything I can to stay in shape, so when my teammates and I eventually get back together, like I'll be able to contribute and help out, and we'll be able to do some damage. And so that was kind of our mindset. We kind of, the majority of us kind of just trained through the pandemic in 2020, just in the hopes that we would eventually have the chance to show off the fitness and put our fitness to the test. And so I'm really happy that like sunset even happened. We set up this little meet in St. George, Utah, and a bunch of inter squad time trials, like a mile. We did a 400 relay, which was hilarious. Yeah, like at the 10K in Santa Barbara, we did a 2 mile at Buffalo Park in Flagstaff. So, and the guys did a 1 hour run in Santa Barbara. So it just, you know, like just not giving into the kind of like doom and gloom, I guess, that this year is kind of fostered, and just yeah, just trying to be positive and kind of press forward with the hope that, like, you know, this isn't permanent, it's temporary, and doing everything we could. Like every race we went to, we complied with all USATF's rules. We got COVID testing quite a bit. You know, we're respectful. Like if we felt like we were like sick at all, just don't come to practice. Things like that. Once we started meeting. So yeah, I mean, I know everyone has handled this year differently, but that's kind of been my outlook on it. And you know, it's been definitely like, I fed off Ben's outlook and then just like having my teammates to kind of just check it on. And that was helpful.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. Even with all the chaos going on, you still were able to come out, really run some fast times, and really conquer, you know, these kind of negative things that are going on in the world right now. But let's take a step back. Even with, you know, all the success you've had currently, let's go back to the beginning. How did you actually start competitive running, and how did you get to where you started to where you are today?
Well, I've been doing this for a while, so it's kind of a lot to unpack. But I mean, I guess I started when I was 17 in high school. So I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I went to a really, really tiny, like Division 2A school. And like I played every other sport, I think, except for soccer. Yeah, I don't know, right? The running sport I didn't play. But we didn't even have we didn't have cross country or track at my school until my junior year. So it wasn't really even an option. So, you know, you need at least 5 people on your team in cross country to score points. And they only had 5 people when the team was newly formed when I was a junior. And one of the girls was sick for state, and they were like, oh, you used to be fast and mini Olympics, like queen of tag, you know, on the playground. So they like just asked me if I would fill in. And then it was just kind of like, it was really, really hard. We did Arkansas in cross country when I was in high school, ran 4K. So it was like really short, a little different. But I think, yeah, I ended up being the first scorer on the team. And I was just kind of like, this is really hard, but I really liked it. And so then I just kind of stuck with it. And then I ran like the 800 through the 3K, or no, sorry, through the 2 mile in high school. And like my high school times, I had just started running, like I ran 2:20 for the 800, 5:11 for the mile, and 12:25 for the 2 mile. So it's like respectable, but I wasn't really heavily recruited out of high school. But I ended up going to Baylor University as a walk-on. I did run fast enough to where the coach, like I went to Baylor on a music scholarship. So I didn't really go for running. That I wanted to run in college. Like I thought it'd be kind of cool, you know, like I was like, I really like it. I feel like I can be a lot better than I am right now, than my times say. But, you know, like I wasn't going to be like just super heavily recruited, because there are so many girls who ran, you know, 2:10 in high school or something that are going to be recruited, which I totally, totally understand. But yeah, so I mean, I got to Baylor, I had academic and music scholarship, but my coach did give, Coach Harbor at Baylor, who's still there, he did give me a book scholarship, which was nice. And then I got to live with the athletes in the athlete dorm. But yeah, so I mean, that year, like I did make it to nationals on the cross team my freshman year. I remember being like really tired and like, I mean, just running, I went from running like 20 miles a week in high school to like 40 or something my freshman year. So like probably doubled it. But yeah, and then once freshman track season rolled around, I broke the 1,000-meter indoor school record. And then I lowered my 800 from 2:20 to 2:07. And so I just hadn't been trained in high school. I mean, just started running, but I'd already gone through like puberty and everything. So I was like developed, but just hadn't really like put the time in. So yeah, so I guess from like freshman to senior year, like I just lowered my times, made nationals every year, would have a few All-American credentials. And yeah, I ran the 1500 my senior year. I think I made the 3K indoor nationals. And then I ran like 204 in the 800 or something in college. But so once again, like I wasn't really like a super standout in college either. Like I'd won a couple conference championships in the Big 12, like have some All-American status, but I think the highest I placed at nationals was 7th. So it wasn't like I was getting, like these huge contract offers, but I did sign with an agent out of college. And that next year I was lucky enough to be able to get onto the circuit where like I lowered my 1500 PR from like 415 to 409 that next year out of college. So I always kind of feel like I'm like right behind the 8 ball, just because like for whatever reason. But yeah, so that next year I did sign a professional contract with ASICS as my first contract. And then moved to Knoxville, Tennessee to pursue a graduate degree and kind of train with the group out there for a while. But then I ran into quite a few years of injuries where I wasn't really on the map. And it was during those, like, to me, I felt like those crucial years it was like ages 23 to 26 or something, to where I was like really not able to like string together training just because of just this vicious injury cycle I was in. I did have one good year in there where like I lowered my PRs to 202 in the 800 and 430 in the mile. So that was promising. But yeah, then the next year I was just like hurt again, and I almost took a collegiate coaching position and then was just like, sorry, I'm like all over the place. But then I got healthy and worked with a biomechanist, my husband, in the lab to kind of try to figure out like what's the cause of your injuries, because it's not like my like blood work always came back fine, but it was a mechanical issue that kept getting me hurt. And then that year in 2016 I decided to dabble in the 3K and the 5K, and then that's when I ran Mount Sac Invitational as my first 5K and got the Olympic standard in the win. So that was nice. It was great actually for me at the time because I'd been like not on the map at all. And so yeah, from 2016 to now, I've been focusing on just 3K, 5K. I've done some road things. I was planning on debuting the half marathon at Houston 2 years ago, then had an Achilles injury I didn't think that was smart. But yeah, I've been training in Memphis, Tennessee since like 2014. And just trying to stay healthy. And Memphis has a great running community. But it just got to the point in 2019 where I just really felt like if I wanted to keep on running and enjoying the sport, that I really wanted to change up my environment and just really have, like I said earlier, like other women, other people around me who were really like invested in each other's success, and who I felt like I could be, friends with and like have fun with, but I also wanted to be able to contribute to their success as well. And so that kind of prompted, that feeling of not being really fulfilled in what I was doing. Even though like, I know I'm talented, like I work hard and I love training, but like, it was just kind of like a make or break thing for me where I was like, I don't really want to do this by myself anymore. Like, I don't want to go show up at an empty track and put myself through these grueling workouts and be like, great, and like, it was like a big no-brainer for me when, I went to altitude in Boulder, Colorado last year. I slept at 9,000 feet and then drove down to Boulder at 5,000 feet almost every day to meet up with people to run. And I'm just like the happiest with my running when I'm around other people. And like, I had so many good friends in Boulder, and so I was like, oh, it's kind of a alarm bell, or, like, oh, light went on. Like, I should probably try to switch things up. So 2019, the whole fall was basically like me just trying to keep a base training phase in there and kind of see what some options were.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you've been making kind of small steps year after year. And I like when you said in college, just a couple All-Americans, because when I heard that, I was pretty impressed. But It really seems like middle distance has been kind of, at least early on in high school and college, was really where you shined, and then just recently, really, the long distance has kind of taken over. What do you think has kind of helped you make that transition, and do you think the long distance is where kind of your strengths lie now?
I do, I mean, like 202 and the 800 is great. But I don't think that, I think I definitely have more of an upside in like the 5K, 10K, like maybe half marathon. I think that the aerobic strength stuff is actually, it is a strength of mine. I think that because of my injury history and because like in the past I've taken such a conservative approach to training, like very conservative, that like it just hasn't been developed. Like I do think that I have speed for sure, but I don't think that I have to tap into my speed through my strength. Like the stronger I get, and I know that's kind of like, a topic is like you get older and your speed lessens, and so you have to go longer, but I actually think it's, like you can maintain your speed as long as you don't just completely abandon working on it. Like I mean, Ben is also really smart about that too. Like, yeah, like my workouts have been a lot longer, my volume is higher, but we've ended a lot of sessions with like just a little bit of, whether it's 200, a couple 200s or like one fast 300 or something. Like Kellen and I had some long workout and we ended the workout with like a 342. Like it's on the road. It's not like, and you'd think that, I'm doing all this stuff, like my legs are going to be buried, but we just kept engaging with it, like just a little bit. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think that I still think one of my biggest strengths is my aerobic engine, and I do not think that it's been fully developed yet. So that's another reason why I'm looking forward to like another year with NEZ, and yeah. So
Your volume is kind of growing. You talked about potentially a half marathon. Do you see longer races like the half and then maybe the full in the future?
I don't know about, I need to, like, I just ran my first 10K. I need to actually run a half marathon before I can even think about the marathon. But I mean, I think like it's intriguing, and like, Alafine, who's the Olympic trials marathon champion. I have Kellen and Steph who've both run great in the marathon. Like I've asked them a lot of questions about it because I am curious about it. I'm not like 100% sold on it, but I do think that if I am going to go that direction, I think I'm in a great group for it. And so, and I trust Ben. But yeah, I don't even know what half marathon we would even do right now. But I don't think that that's in the cards probably until like next fall. So I would say definitely still focus on like 5K, 10K for this coming year in 2021, at least through the summer. So
Okay. Well, so 5K, 10K going to be the focus for the near future. You ran 15:10 and then 30, 50, 31:53. Is that?
yeah.
Did those PRs kind of come at you at a surprise, or were you kind of with the workouts seeing those coming?
No, I actually, so we were expecting the 5K at Sunset to actually be more aggressive. So I mean, when you get a PR, it's a PR. Like you can't complain about that at all. But we were actually hoping for faster. And the 10K was kind of just like, I think that I think I can run a lot faster in the 10K than what I ran, but it was definitely such a new experience. And so we weren't surprised at all by the times. We were at Sunset, like we just wanted to compete. We just wanted to put ourselves in the best position to hopefully take home the win. And then whatever the time was, the time was. But so I mean I can't complain about anything with the Sunset 5K. The 10K was definitely like, I actually loved it, but it was, and during it was really hard, but I got done and it was just classic, like, oh, when can we do another one? And they're like, Lauren, just relax and enjoy like this race.
So let's see. So you've hit the 5K, you've hit the 10K. You're on a little bit of a break now. What is the future looking like? Do you think you're going to kind of start playing things by ear, or do you think you have some solid goals for the near future?
I mean, I just probably like everyone else. It's like none of the times counted this year for next year, really, except for I guess like the trials times, like the trial standards. If you had shoes that were within regulations with all this mess with the shoe heights and everything. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I want to, just knock my Olympic standard out of the way, which is like, I definitely know like we can do that. And um, so that's probably going to be on everyone's list is just getting that done. So you can just focus on racing at the trials. But yeah, I mean, for me, because like I do know that, I mean, I've only been training with Ben and at NAZ and in the altitude for about 8 months. Like that, my goal doesn't really change. It's just to continue to like just work on my strengths and get even fitter. And like, I'm hoping that, the training doesn't ever really get easy, but I'm hoping that I'm able to like handle it better too and kind of know what to expect or what's coming and just go into more workouts just more confident. I mean, they've been going great, but it's all just been such uncharted territory that it's kind of like a lot of the workouts like, okay, this is another the most I've ever done type workout, like I say that like probably once a week. so so yeah, that's kind of the goal right now. And I mean, I get back to Flagstaff September 30th and back to work with the team, and then I think we'll probably like, I don't know exactly what Ben has planned for me training wise through September, but I'll get on my final surge app and we'll communicate, and yeah, and just along for the ride in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, and you talked about a lot of the times not counting from this year, except for at the trials. And we talked about those shoes. Regulations and carbon fiber plates are kind of the hot topic right now. Now starting to run for HOKA, and I'm sure you have lots of shoes. Have you started dabbling in the carbon fiber plate world?
uh yeah, like some of the shoes they make, I mean, they have them like, the Carbon X has a carbon plate in it that it's kind of they market it as kind of a like a performance shoe for longer distances. I kind of just wear those like for easy runs, but we do have, I don't know how much I can say about this, but we do have like a prototype HOKA shoe that we've all been running in. Like I think the marathoners wore it at the trials in Atlanta. And so I mean that shoe is definitely awesome. Like I wear that for a lot of my road workouts and some on the track because I don't like to wear spikes in every track workout. But I mean, we actually, like my teammate brought this to my attention. Like we actually only got on the track like 4 times this whole season. Some of it was because we didn't have access because of COVID regulations. And then we just do really well like on the road and it translates for us. So yeah, like I've definitely worn their carbon plated train flats and those are great. Um yeah, so it's kind of like with HOKA, like they're definitely like we met with their product management team in Santa Barbara and like they definitely are looking for ways to innovate and kind of give us as much of you know advantage I guess as possible. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's so many great options right now, and HOKA has been innovating for a while. And I think the shoe you're talking about, the Rocket X that we saw
Yeah.
on Aliphine's feet, I actually just got my pair. It's an amazing shoe. And I think, I don't know how much you've done workouts in them so far, but what I notice with that shoe and a lot of these other carbon plated shoes is you can run fast in these workouts because they're so light and responsive, but the next day you really don't feel as beat up. Your legs actually feel a lot fresher. So at least for me, that's been one of the biggest advantages that I've seen with the shoes.
I mean, that's definitely been nice. Like I don't know, like it's just it's exciting. Like I mean, they have also other shoes that do have a carbon plate in it but aren't as stiff. And so like I do actually wear those like if we're doing workouts on soft surface rather than the Rocket X, but because I think it's good to kind of switch things up so you don't get kind of like stale in one shoe too. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely been awesome. Like I feel like I don't know. I truly lucky to have like gotten in with HOKA or like on the team when I did, especially since I mean I signed a contract in December and then everything shut down. So it's definitely been really lucky and like really grateful for that too. So
Definitely. Well, okay, so we talked about Rocket X, probably use workout day, race day, Carbon X, maybe some workouts, but it sounds like you like to use it for just your daily training. What other shoes are you using in your lineup? I heard you're a fan of the Rincon. Is that a shoe you use quite a bit?
yeah, I do. I really like probably my two favorite ones are the Rincon and the Clifton, like, you know, the perennial favorite, the Clifton, of course. And the Clifton 7, like, I mean, I haven't been with HOKA, you know, since they began, but I do have quite a few pairs of the Clifton 6, which I really, really liked. And I would say the Clifton 7 is definitely like even a step up from that. That's like feels amazing. And I wear the Clifton for like just easy runs, long runs, just anything like, you know, doubles, just easy running. The Rincons I really like too because they're really light, really responsive. Like I wear those for a lot of long runs that have fast finishes in them. So at the end of like, I don't know, say like 11 miles, if I have 16 miles, I'll do 11 miles and then 3 miles fast at like tempo effort and then 2 mile cool down. So those are great because if you're out somewhere like on a dirt road in Flagstaff, you don't have shoes to change into, you know, like, so basically just, I like those because they're light, but they're still really cushioned. So you don't feel like you're just wearing a flat for the entire 16-mile long run. Also, I really like the Rincon for hill repeats for some reason. Like they just have that much pop where like hills and altitude are really like they're so hard. And so you don't want to, you already feel like just so heavy. You don't want to feel weighed down by your shoes. So that's where I wear the Rincons as well. But then obviously like I feel like the Rincon for me in my lineup of HOKA shoes is a shoe that I could wear for like for any workout, honestly. Like even I did wear it for a track workout actually, and it was fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a cool shoe. It's pretty versatile.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly the word I was going to use. I feel like the Rincon
Yeah.
really is that shoe that can do it all, and it's light, it's smooth, it's got a little bit of a pop, and I mean, like you said, like
Yeah.
recovery days, training, workouts, like it really, there's nothing it can't do. So, you know, I can see why that's one of your favorite shoes.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Awesome. Are there any other shoes in the lineup, or is that kind of your main staple right there with Rincon, Carbon X, Clifton, uh, and yeah, I think that's the three main ones.
Yeah, I would say my main, like definitely my two main are Rincon and Clifton. I just tried the Bondi. Like I
Uh,
know I'm late to the game, but I just tried it. And that one actually is like really nice too. Like, I mean, it's definitely like, it's a lot of shoe, but it's really nice for like the day after a really hard workout as well. If your legs are feeling beat up, because it just has so much cushion, but they're also not like, they don't like weigh you down a ton either. So I like those. I actually there's one called the Elevon that I like. So it's a lot of cushion as well. And I'm not really sure like what exactly is like different about that one. I know the laces are kind of interesting. But they kind of feel like they feel kind of like the Clifton, but they with the amount of cushion they have. But I wear the mock as well for some runs. They kind of feel like weirdly in between the mock and the Clifton. Just like they're responsive, but they're not as like soft and plush as the Clifton is to me.
Totally.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think so. The Elevon and Mach both have that like pro to fly cushioning, so like
yeah,
you do get that little bit more responsive of a ride. And the Elevon, I feel like the more inherently stable package just gives it a little bit more stable of a feel. So I think those are kind of like great to hear that you're adding those into your lineup because while they're not quite the same as maybe something like a Clifton, it is kind of fun to add in, you know, for depending on the day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just, I am though, I will stick with what I know works for when it comes to like workout. So that would definitely be the Rincon or the Rocket X for me, and sometimes the Carbon Rocket. But I like to experiment with all the shoes. Like I think I've worn every one. Like I wear the Kavu sometimes as well. Um, but yeah, I don't think that there's like I haven't dabbled in the like shoes that are marketed as stability. I'm not sure it would matter for me if they're stability or neutral, because I have a weird stride. Like my like I run completely on my toes. Like my heels don't touch the ground. Like if you look at the bottom of my shoe, it looks like the heel is a completely brand new shoe, even if I have like 300 miles on the forefoot. It's weird. So like it's almost for me, like I haven't really tried the stability shoes like the Arahi or something like that. Because I've just always like historically more neutral, but I actually don't know if that would matter as much for me. Like I kind of bypass that whole transition phase, like the heel to toe off. So yeah, as long as the shoe has like great cushion in the forefront, I'm usually good to go.
Awesome. Well, it's great to hear your full HOKA lineup. It really sounds like you're testing it all and taking full advantage of everything HOKA has to offer. We're going to move it on forward to fan questions. We reached out to the fans, and I want to start it off with one directly from NAZ Elite. And I have a sneaking suspicion this might have been Ben. So the question is, the question is, what was the hardest workout Coach Ben ever gave you?
Oh my God. Okay, Ben, I can't even answer that question because all of the workouts you've given me have been hard. But I would say there's really only been one workout that we didn't hit on paper. So I think that probably has to be like up there for sure. It was, oh my gosh, like 3 by 1,500, like with cut downs in them, like where the last one, and this is at like 7,300 feet or something. So like the last one was just like, oh, so hard to hit. And then we had like a 3 mile tempo after. So you're already just like, just breathing so hard. And then I'm like, are you kidding me? I have to run 3 miles with Steph and Kellen and their bread and butter, and this is like hard for me. But no, so probably that one. But then I think the 10 by a K was just really hard because we only had a minute rest in between there, and it was like I think the most K repeats I'd done was 8, but it wasn't. I mean, it was at like sea level, like the paces weren't as fast even, or like and so that one was just really really hard. We did a 10 mile like tempo in the middle of a long run one day, and that one was really hard too. They're all hard.
Lots of hard workouts.
But I will say, I think he's expecting me to say Marshall Lake, and I would say, deceivingly, that one is right in my wheelhouse. So.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
and
and
it's minute hill repeats. It's like it's 4 by 2 minute hill repeats, and you have to make it to the top of this hill where there's a guardrail. So it's like it's a rubric for our team. If you can get to the guardrail, that's like, oh, you are fit, you know. But I think being an 800-meter runner, that being my background, like that, like the harder things for me are the longer, like even longer steady state efforts where like the paces are slower, but it's just the time on your feet, you know. So
yeah. I mean those hill repeats kind of are in your wheelhouse. I'm sure you can make Steph and Callan work a little harder than when you're running the long distance runs. And I bet you are wearing the Rincon during that workout. Am I right?
The Rincon or the Rocket X, I've done both. And
okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like gotta, have something in your arsenal to help.
Okay, well, next question isn't from a fan, but it's from me.
Okay.
What is your dog's name? I hear your dog in the background. What kind of dog do you have?
Him if you want. His name is Baylor.
And what kind of dog is he?
He's a miniature Australian Shepherd.
Awesome.
Very
All right. back to the fan questions. Okay, so which runner or which member of the team do you look up to the most?
That is impossible to answer. I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, probably
Well, who's someone that you do look up to on the team that has inspired you?
definitely like Stephanie Bruce, I've actually, so I've been like trying to figure out where I'm going to live this coming fall when I move back and finally figured it out. Hi, Leah not Thorble, Rosenfeld. um, but I've been living with Stephanie and Ben Bruce and their two kids, Riley and Hudson, for the past couple months. And so, I mean, yeah, it's been fun. Like Steph, it just has such a great like attitude and presence. And like, I really respect her, like performance sense, competition sense, training sense, business sense. And so it's just been really cool, like living with them, like come upstairs and have breakfast or coffee or whatever. And then like I have like things, we go to practice together usually. And yeah, so definitely probably Steph Bruce, but also, I mean, like Kellen is like a superstar as well. She's like firefighting license, does like foster care. She's has this, lots of foster kids that are coming through her and Kyle's house. And yeah, just like her work ethic. And we drove to Santa Barbara together for the 10K we did. It was like a 8-hour drive or something. And we were kind of talking about just like performance anxiety a little bit. And she's like, and like motivation this year. And she's like, it's just running. Just go do it. It's just running, So she just has like such a good handle on training and races. And it's actually really refreshing, because I think you see a lot of athletes over there, like at races, like biting their nails and stuff and like all worried about it. And she's just like, you do this in practice all the time. Just go run, So it's kind of fun. It's kind of cool. Like, so, I mean, I've learned a lot from those two, but I mean, I love Alafine too. She's so positive and like so encouraging. And like when I got to Flagstaff, I was like hurt and like wasn't really running. And I was like, this is a sucky way to join a new group. Like I can't even train with people. And like every day I saw her when we were in, like I would go to practice and like try to run a little bit, or like I'd see her in the weight room and like I feel like she made a point every day to just be like, how are you doing? And this was like the 2 months before the marathon trials, or like, like arguably one of the biggest stages of her career. And she like took the time to like ask how I was doing, so it was really cool. And then Nick Hogger is the same way too. He's a newbie on the team. Well, he got there before me, but he's younger. Like, he also has just been very welcoming. Like Rory's great. Like everyone's so nice. Like, and that was a big thing for me. I was like, I don't want to join a group where like people don't get along, and it's like I'm too old for that. So it's just like, so that was kind of cool. I mean, definitely very cool. Like I don't think when I came on my visit in December, like if I didn't get a good vibe from a group, like I wasn't going to go there. So
Well, I mean, it sounds like the team dynamics are awesome, and that has been a huge made a huge impact on your training. Final question for you. What's your go-to food after a really hard workout or race?
there's not even some of these questions. I can't even like answer like with one thing, but I mean, I don't know. I like tacos. Stefan, Ben and I's go to this season, like pretty much every dinner, like after like the day of a hard workout, we'll get Diablo burger. So I get the Cheech, and it's jalapeno, avocado, bison meat, and just like the special sauce that they have on a brioche bun with fries and ketchup. So that's my go-to. I really just also like right after a workout, like my favorite thing is just white basmati rice, black beans, avocado, and like crumbled up tortilla chips. So I just like mix that together. And yeah, so probably that. Yeah, I eat a lot of fruit, a lot of veggies, lots of ready rice because I'm exhausted and I just need like quick carbs. And also, I don't know, there's a place in Flagstaff called Local Juicery. So I like my smoothies. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say a burger and fries, but those are kind of it for me.
Yeah. No, I mean you can't go wrong with a burger, especially a bison burger. Sounds really good. But yeah, that's kind of wrapping it up for our fan questions. Thanks so much, Lauren, for joining us. If people want to find you on social media, where can they find you?
So both my Instagram and my Twitter names are the same. It's Hot Paquettes. This is a pun. It's a joke. It is not me saying I'm hot. It is a Jim Gaffigan joke. It's a pun on Hot Pockets, you know, the really nutritious meal you find in the freezer section at your grocery store. Yeah, so you can find me there. And then on Facebook, I'm just Lauren Hagen's Paquette. I think, and I'm on Strava. So as Lauren Paquette. So you can find me on those 4 channels.
Perfect. We'll keep up to date and looking forward to some fast times coming in the future. But thanks again for joining us. It's been an honor to have you, and look forward to talking with you again in the future.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That was
Awesome.
an hour well spent.
Thanks again. Well, until next time, that was the Running Warehouse Connection.